Hello everyone, my name is Shoin Kashi and you're watching AstroIsland. As we all know, we're in full swing of the July-August holidays, or some of you may call it the summer holidays. And for us astrophotographers, we're excited because the Milky Way, the core of the Milky Way is up in the sky during the night. In just about a week time, the full moon is going to be back out. And one of the things that I've realized, especially with us astrophotographers and especially the astrophotographer influencers, we see a lot of videos, countless videos on astrophotography software, astrophotography equipment, astrophotography viewing. And one thing I haven't seen is astrophotography equipment for kids and beginners, because let's face it, as I mentioned, the August holidays or the summer holidays are in full swing, and kids are excited just as much as us to see the night sky. And of course, you want to have something very basic for them. And this is what I'll be doing today. Coincidentally, a very good friend of mine, Mr. Warren Sugdar, he sent this to me. So this is a very basic telescope. As I mentioned before, it's just for the kids, or maybe some those who are into extremely basic astrophotography using just like a cell phone. And the capabilities of this particular scope, as a beginner, of course, is just basically like viewing the moon, and of course viewing where my friend lived, Mr. Sugdar. There's a nice view of the mountains and the hills and some wildlife where he lives. So again, for beginner, this is ideal, and I'm going to show you now how to set everything up so you can begin viewing basic stuff and using your cell phone to capture the moon and of course basic wildlife. So without further ado, let's get started. Okay, let's have some fun. Right, so first things first, the telescope comes in a nice gray bag. Right, it's pretty light, really easy to carry. Let's unzip it. Now, just a little spoiler, I actually opened it up before just to make sure that everything there wasn't any damage. So just quickly to get this video done, I repackaged everything. So it's a little messy, but that's not the manufacturer's fault, that's my fault. That's how I repackage everything quickly so I can get this video out for you guys. So just basically unzip it, take off this nice Velcro strap. Right, and inside we have the manual, and as we can see, it's a Dianfan 8600 telescope. I did a quick little search online on Amazon, and this goes for about 99 US, so pretty cheap, pretty budget telescope to work with. This is the manual that comes with it. This is the eyepiece holder, or the leg spreader, sometimes what they call it, so you can put all of the different eyepieces inside of here. So you'll put this aside. There's a pouch, and in that pouch has the holder to adjust the tripod. Put it aside. The tripod is also included. Alright, so we're going to set that up later. We'll put this aside. Another smaller pouch, and I'm assuming, yes, everything is inside of here. The various eyepiece holders. Alright, this is going to go somewhere inside of the telescope, to the back area. We have a 3x Barlow lens. We have some additional lenses. 25mm, and we also have, let me see if I can find something else. Yes, right, and it also comes with a 10mm eyepiece as well. So there are two eyepieces at 10mm and 25mm, so that's going to adjust your zoom accordingly depending on which one you insert. And as well, we have the Barlow lens 3x that's going to magnify that view. Alright, the other piece is going to go into the telescope, and of course these are going to go into the eyepieces are going to go into this, so we're going to set that up later. Alright, there's more Velcro that's going to hold the telescope, and this seems to be a refractor telescope here, Dianfan, or Dianfan, however you pronounce it. right? Yeah, so it's a refracted telescope, which basically means it's some pieces of glass that's inside of the telescope, and the light, the various elements of light is going to come in and be focused now, and then from there you can see it in the eyepiece, whatever object it is that you're looking at. Alright, I can use a bag with some extra stuff. Right, and this here is the cell phone holder. So your cell phone is gonna go here, the eyepiece is gonna go inside of here, and then from there you make your adjustments accordingly, and then thereafter you mount it onto the eyepiece and onto the telescope, which is what I'm going to show you how everything is done. Right, so the first thing that we want to do is to get the tripod set up. So basically take it, we spread it out, and we can extend the legs by removing these little latches here. Right, so we latch these out and then we latch it back in to lock it so it won't move up and down. Right, and there you have it. That's a tripod that's going to be set up right there. Right, so it's pretty sturdy. Right, and then now the eyepiece holder, or the leg spreader as some of us call it, is going to be inserted right here to prevent this from moving up and down. But of course, always keep in mind when you finish your night of viewing or imaging, be sure to remove the eyepiece, otherwise it's going to break if you pull this back up while the eyepiece holder is still installed. So this is the eyepiece holder, and to the back of it there's a little screw, and we're just basically going to screw it down into this hole right here. So the next thing that we want to do is now put the telescope on top of the tripod. So let's get the telescope, and below the telescope is a little hole where it's going to be inserted, where it's going to screw down onto, and on top of the tripod, let me see if I can get it angled correctly, this is going to screw inside of here. Just basically line it up and you begin screwing it on so it can be held in place nice and tight. See, it's pretty sturdy there, and then you can make your adjustments accordingly. Right, these are gonna tighten the sides and from turning left and right. Right, we have the tripod holder, the tripod adjuster, and that's gonna screw into the side right here. Let me see if I can turn it around so you can see. So you notice this is going up and down. See, so this is going to prevent it, and this is going to control it to your speed. See? So I'm not sure if you're hearing that. It's not my tummy, that's thunder outside. It's a really overcast and a stormy day. But we're inside and we're doing some filming, so we're gonna have some fun. So now that I've tightened it as tight as possible, you don't want to screw it too tight, otherwise it's going to damage the grooves for the tripod. I can now let this go, and if I slacken it a little bit, I can now adjust it up and down accordingly. See, and likewise if I slacken this side, I can now move it left and right accordingly. Okay, so this to the side here allows it to move left and right, and this holder allows it to move up and down. Very much similar to those who use photography equipment like a DSLR camera. They have tripods fairly similar to this. So next up, we're going to get the eyepieces and the eyepiece holder installed. So we have them here. We're going to start with the eyepiece holder. Right, pretty much looks like this. And this piece is going to screw in to this section right here. Right, again, just make sure it's nice and tight. Right, and then this of course will be facing upwards, because this is where you're going to be looking down into for whatever object that you have the telescope pointed at. So that's going to line up there. And then, as I mentioned, we have the 10mm eyepiece, we have the 25mm eyepiece, and we have the Barlow 3x lens. Of course, this is mainly used if you want to zoom further in. So let's say, for example, you're taking a view, or you want to try and get a picture of the moon, but you want to get a section of the moon that's even closer up. Then you can maybe pop in the 3x Barlow lens, then you put the eyepiece inside of it, and thereafter you can get a more zoomed in view of whatever section of the moon. Or as I mentioned, if you want to capture something, an object further away, let's say a mountain or whatever, or a nice skyscraper somewhere, and you want to zoom in further to get at let's say at the top of the building, you can now put the 3x Barlow lens, put maybe the 10 or the 25mm, and you can get an even further zoom into that object that you're looking at. So the next thing that we need to do now is to take the cover off. All right, so this cover protects the glass of the eyepiece. All right, I think there's a little rubber seal inside of it. Yeah. So you can just put this aside, and then now we're going to use for now the 25mm eyepiece, and that just pops right inside of there. Okay, and of course you don't want it shifting around, so we have these little knobs here to tighten it, so that way it won't fall out. See, so now I'm tugging at it and it's not going to fall out. Likewise, all of these knobs here, just ensure before you start your viewing session that it's nice and tight. And as I mentioned, if you want to use the Barlow lens, let me take this one back off so I can show you. So the Barlow lens is going to go inside of here first. You can take this cap off. This again is just to protect it. And then the eyepiece goes inside, and that's going to magnify it. See, tighten everything up. See, so now you have a magnification of the 25mm lens. Right, so the next thing we want to do now is use the camera phone holder. So remember this piece? So this is now going to be mounted onto this. So you can take this back off. Okay, and basically this goes into it like this. The front part of the eyepiece goes down inside to line up. And if you look at it, and this I find this pretty cool. If you put it like this, of course if you turn it over, it's going to fall out. You do not want that happening. So in order to lock this into this, you place it like this. So you place the eyepiece into the lens holder, and you begin slowly turning it until it locks into place. So now that's not going anywhere. See, it's not going to fall out. And if you slacken it, or if you loosen it in the anti-clockwise direction, you can now take it back out. Pretty cool, huh? So we're going to lock it into place. Make sure it's nice and tight. And then now you can place this right here. There you go. So then now your cell phone, you can turn it in whatever direction you want. Can line up. So the lens of your cell phone is now going to line up with the lens of the hole right here. Now, this part is a little bit difficult depending on the cell phone that you have. Some of the cell phones you have to keep adjusting it slightly until you get that, until it lines up in the field of view, and then you're all good to go. Alright, so we're going to save this for last. So let's take this back off. Alright, just loosen it again. I'm gonna place this back in here for now. Tighten this to make sure it doesn't fall out. And if we look down inside, I don't see anything. Why? Because it's a typical mistake that even sometimes those who are into astrophotography for many years, including myself, always forget. Well, not always, but many times forget. And that is to remove, let me show you. That is to remove the dust cap, which is this piece right here. So if you don't remove the dust cap, of course, you're not going to see anything. So this protects dust from getting onto the glass or the lens of the telescope. So we take it off, and now you can see whatever object it is that you want to be viewing. And if I look down inside, yeah, I can begin to see some stuff, but of course it's very blurry. And the reason for that is, let me just turn this around so you can see. To the side, there are some adjustment knobs. And these adjustment knobs allow you to focus on whatever object it is that you have it pointed at. So if I look down inside, yeah, things are getting a little clearer. Right, but of course the object that I'm looking at is pretty close. It's, you know, it's still going to look a little blurry, but at least that focus is coming in. So we're going to go outside thereafter. Hopefully the rain should stop and we can see if we can capture something. Okay, you're also seeing this here. This is like a mini telescope, or what we call a viewfinder. And what that does is that even though, yes, you're looking at whatever object it is that you want, but then now you want to, you know, sort of zoom in, not zoom in, but sort of fine tune the exact location and where you want the telescope to be adjusted. You can use this now. There's a little like a little X or little pointer that tells you exactly what the main telescope is focusing on, and this here can also be adjusted to adjust your focus. So this adjusts the main focus of the telescope itself, and this little knob right here adjusts the viewfinder, and you should be good to go. Once it's all nice and focused in, you come back here again and you begin focusing, doing your main focus on whatever object it is that you want to view, or if you have the cell phone holder onto the telescope, whatever object it is that you want to capture. So it seems to be clearing up a little bit. I'm going to head outside in a few, and let's see if we can capture something, or maybe even just see something, and we'll see what happens from there. So one thing I've realized is that it's much easier to mount your cell phone onto your cell phone holder, right? And this here has like a spring-loaded action. So you basically place the cell phone inside of here. So it's a little tight because of course you need to grip the cell phone as tightly as possible. You line it up accordingly, and then now this piece is adjustable both up and down and left and right. So in my instance, this one is a wide lens, so it's better to put it on this one so you can get a nice view. Let's tighten it there. We enable the camera. See, and there you have it. So now when this gets mounted to the telescope, it'll be much easier to view, rather than putting the eyepiece into the telescope and then trying to mount this onto it. It's going to be a little more challenging. So this is a better option to use, and then you take your eyepiece, as I showed before, place it here, and you just turn this to tighten it. So that way now it doesn't fall out. And then now let me bring the telescope back for you to view. So then now the telescope and everything will line up just right. Slacken this a little more. Alright, so this is going to line up just like this, and more or less you're good to go. Alright, so I am out in the yard right now, I have the telescope right here. And what I'm actually looking at, or what I have it viewed in, let me see if I can zoom in, is this coconut tree right here. And you can't see it on the camera, but there's some coconuts inside of there. But let's use the telescope and see what we can find, shall we? So we're gonna enable it. And there we have it. I have it zoomed right in on that coconut. How amazing is that? This telescope is pretty decent. As I mentioned, this is just for fun, just for viewing basic items, you know, mountains, the sky, and of course, if the moon is out, you can view the moon. Now, one of the cons or disadvantages of this telescope is that it's really finicky. As you can see, it's pretty wobbly. But that's fine. It's just for kids, just for them to take a look at something. You have your cell phone, they can view the moon or view an object. You know, rather than having to look down inside of an eyepiece, which makes it even more difficult. So, if a bird now decides to land on that coconut tree, then yeah, you can show the kids that, you know, that a parrot or whatever bird or whatever animal is inside of that tree. They can now get a closer view of that object. So there you have it. Again, this is the let me see if I can find the brand. This is a Diane Fan telescope. There we have that zoom with the camera. My cell phone connected to the eyepiece holder. Alright, so that just about wraps up today's episode of AstroIsland. As always, don't forget to like the videos and subscribe to the channel, so that way I can spread the word to many others out there who are interested in astronomy and astrophotography, so we can all learn and grow together. I hope you enjoyed as well the unboxing and the quick setup of the Diane Fan or the Diane Fan telescope. And I know Mr. Sugdar and his family, they're gonna have a really great time using this telescope. So drop some comments down below what telescope you started off with. What was your beginner telescope? Let's have that conversation going in the comment section, shall we? So as always, I close off by saying, it's not the size of your telescope that counts, it's how you use it. Bye for now, everyone. Take care, and to all the kids, enjoy the July, August, or the summer holidays. Bye, everyone.